Live from Pittsburgh, Kansas, it's Techno Kungfu, episode number 7 with Bobby Brooks and Shyamal Chandra. Hey, Bobby,
How are you?
how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great.
And it's been quite some time since we last chatted over this podcast. And I think it's going to be a great podcast. We have some topics lined up for you.
Yeah,
And
I had a little flu situation, and voice was messed up. It was all bad.
okay, let's just hope for the best for the next few weeks, so we can have more podcasts. So
Yeah, we're good now. We're good now.
yeah. Anyways, let's get to the first topic at hand, Bobby, which is a question you had for me earlier this week regarding certain types of CEOs that claim to be CTOs or very hands-on, but they end up being COOs or CMOs. Hello?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, good.
You threw out a lot of acronyms. What was I saying?
You're saying that you were saying something about there's a particular CEO that was claiming was having problems issues with saying that he was not really developing the technical aspect of the projects.
Oh yeah. We're talking about Elon Musk,
Yeah.
who's basically going, I can get us to Mars,
Okay.
except he has no background at all to get us
Okay.
to Mars. So, and people are throwing money at him, and he's taking it, obviously.
Okay.
But what he has is no no no. There's nothing about him that says he's gonna get us to Mars.
Okay.
Like there's no instruction, there's no knowledge other than the fact that he just believes he can. And someone equated it to Trump, where it's like, well, I'm going to build a wall, and it's like, well, that's really dumb because there's an ocean right there. They could just swim around. Like it's one of those dumb things
Okay.
where I go, so just because you say you can, you can. Like, I mean, I get it. First off, we've done that in the
Okay.
past, and
Right.
and one and done it. Like we went, we're gonna go to the moon, and everybody
Right.
went, well, you're not gonna go to the moon, and we did. So there's like this hit and miss with it, where I'm like, well, maybe you can. I mean,
Yeah.
if
So what are your
if you
thoughts? What are
if you
your
start
thoughts
a
about?
movement, if you start a movement, you don't have to be the most intelligent person.
Right.
You can hire intelligent people who can get you there, right?
It's from that classic Chris Matthews hardball textbook. That's the centerpiece of any political science curriculum, where he says it's not what you know, it's who you get to
It's who
know.
you know, right?
And this
Like
is and he makes a
you
case
know
study
enough.
of,
You know
William
enough to
Jefferson
know that
Kennedy.
you don't know. That's the important part. You know enough to know that you don't know.
Right. And it's kind of like goes in line with UB40's Higher Ground song. The more I learn, the less I know
Yeah,
anymore.
it really like turns back into a Buddhist kind of mentality, where it's like,
Right.
if I really want to do this, I need to get people around me who are better at this than me. And that doesn't
Right.
make me any less. Actually, it makes me smarter, because
Right.
I am the one who's going, I need smart people. I
Right.
mean, even with, I hate to get political, but even with George Bush, he was an idiot, and he knew he was an idiot. So he surrounded himself with smart people. That was his whole idea. Was like, I'm an idiot.
Okay.
So just get smart people,
But the question
and they
is,
do the work.
are they good smart people? Or are they too smart to circumvent the system? That's the question of the day.
Well, and then yeah, then you get into that where it's a subterfuge, if you will, like where like he's hiring smart people who are screwing him
Right, right.
because they know they can because he's an idiot.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, we got
So
real,
yeah.
we got real political real quick. That was not where I was going.
No, no, no. It's okay. It's okay. This is the topic of discussion today in the podcast. And
But I do think that Elon Musk is he's a very smart individual.
yes, I definitely agree.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
However, uh, his reach, I think, is too far.
Right. Right.
Like he has an idea that he absolutely thinks he's going to do, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're going to do that. Like that.
Yeah.
Everything in science tells me that you're not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, if you do, oh,
Yeah.
God bless you. Like I'll be on board, but I
Well,
don't think.
maybe he is keeping it under the wraps until the time is right, and he has all the buttons there ready to go.
Well, and then we get into that thing too, where it's like, I mean, because the government gets involved,
Yeah.
obviously, where they're like, so what exactly are you doing? And like when he gets to that level where he's launching rockets into space, the government goes, yeah, we're paying attention. We want to know what you're doing.
Right. It's kind of like the people who worked on strong AI back in the days. I think there's this one guy from MIT named Pushpinder Singh, who's very famous, and he said he got a call from the CIA saying that they wanted to know what does he mean by artificial intelligence. So something like that, and he posted on his blog and everything, and then he committed suicide like few years later, 1 year later, and that was kind of scary. And it was not
Yeah.
just him; it was a bunch of people who were going towards strong AI. He was working on ConceptNet at MIT, and his other friend was working on something very similar, semantic nets at some startup, and they were both
Well, and
the subject
I
of this 2008 Wired magazine article that was really really interesting. You have to see it. You have to read it.
well I remember when I was a electronic engineering major, they literally said you don't have to actually graduate. We'll just hire you. And I was like, well,
Mm.
that sounds kind of shady.
Right, 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 right.
And they were like, well, it's cheaper if we hire you if you haven't graduated.
Right, right, right.
And then they were like, but if you do graduate,
Right.
here's what will happen. And basically what would happen was I didn't do anything with electronics or engineering.
Right, right.
I looked at schematics and went, yep, that looks right. And I was like, so basically I could do that with a business degree. And
Okay.
the lady literally told me yes. And I went, so I could do a lot less math in college and do the same thing and get the same money. And she was
Right.
like, yeah. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not doing electronics engineering anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's like it's silly.
but at the same time, if you're doing a business degree and you're doing a technical degree or engineering degree, the job security of an engineering or technical degree is much higher than a business degree, and that's found in a Newsweek article that said that many of these CEOs that were business MBAs were disposable after a few years
Well, yeah,
because
but
they were not
the weird
contributing much
part,
to the company.
the weird part is, and just to what you're talking about is that you know, doing maintenance
Right,
is a skill,
right, right,
and not only is it a skill, like there's a lot of facets to it, and if you are good at it, you get hired. Everybody has an MBA, right?
right, right.
No,
Well, you have to be careful. Some people don't have very good communication skills. Some people don't have leadership skills. Some people don't have are not very good extroverts. They're more introverts. Some people have problems with explaining technical stuff in simple layman's
right.
terms. So that's
I
these
understand.
are marketing, finance,
No, I
um,
understand. I understand the
leadership,
point you're
and
making, which is
yeah,
like
business writing.
there is a skill in business.
Right, right,
However, there's a physical skill,
right,
and if you don't have it, you just don't have it. Like
right, right. Well, you can always
you
be
can't
coached.
fake
You can
that.
always
You
be
can't
coached.
talk your way through that. You
Right, right.
can't talk your way through.
Very
Like I trust me, I literally could. I guarantee you, if I wanted to go sell houses tomorrow, I could go up to a real estate agency and I could talk myself into a job.
okay.
But I don't want to do that,
Right,
mostly because
right,
I know. Well, see, here's the funny part. Mostly because I'm smart enough to know that the end game of that is that I basically drop money most of the time
right, right,
because you set up the house and blah, blah, whatever. But
right,
everybody has their skill set. It's
right,
just don't like don't try to cross over because
right, right,
you're probably gonna fail. You're probably gonna fail,
right. Yeah,
especially when
my
it's
my
like a physical thing. Like I do maintenance. It's broken. I fix it.
right,
That's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but you know what I mean. Like the premise of it is it's easy. When you go into business, it's broken. Oh God, how do we fix it? Well, I need to talk to this dude, and then talk to that dude, and then so what do you think about this? And it's a complicated scenario, and honestly, I don't. They're not paid what they're worth because like
right,
you literally spend so much time doing that. But
right, right.
I mean,
It reminds me of a baseball game. You know, baseball game, the starting pitcher comes in, then the relief pitcher, then the closing pitcher. And and the same thing with the Hindu trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And so you have the creator, maintainer, destroyer. So something like that, where you have your creator, which is the founder, your maintainer, which is the CEO that comes in to replace the founder, and the
right.
destroyer that eventually comes and makes it a penny stock by making
And
the wrong
and he
decision.
obviously comes in and he takes he is the man.
Right, right. And the same way I talk about when I'm talking about baseball game, the starting pitcher is usually the incubation of the idea. The relief pitcher is like the person who pulls together the project or scales the project, and the closing person closing pitcher is basically the person who wraps it up in nice GUI and sells it off to that person. So these are the most important components of some product, from incubation to productization.
And what's funny is,
where does that particular person is he Brahma, is he Vishnu, or is he Shiva? In terms of
what's funny is you've talked about a comedy show. That's what happens in a comedy show. There's a headliner. Right. So, well, first off, there's an intro, which is a dude who doesn't know much about comedy, but he just intros the guy.
Right.
Then there's the headliner.
Right.
Then there's the middle, and then there's the end.
Right.
And it's the exact same scenario. Like they're all important. So it's important that they all do their job.
And there's also different types of leaders. There's lead by example, lead by action, lead by word.
See, I've always led by example. I've been in charge of a lot of different things. You always lead by example.
So because the leader does some.
And here's the thing about that: leading by example, that can hurt you.
Yes.
Because it's like, I lead by example. I'm like, oh, this is what's expected of you. It's like day one. This is what's expected of you. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Next day, I go, I'm not dealing with that.
Right.
Well, that sets a precedent, doesn't it?
Right.
Of, we don't want to deal with that.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the case. It's just that I have other things I have to do, and I can't do that right now. But what that sets up is an environment where you can just get away with not doing it. Right?
Right. So my understanding of this is basically this. You have a leader. The leader is either very good at delegating work, is good at instigating work, or good at closing work. So these are the three things, in my opinion, that I've gotten from leadership tasks. Delegating work, initiating work, or closing work. And these are very important, because when you it's like the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and this is very common, that you, if you initiate the work, you're the visionary, you're the dreamer leader. If you're the maintainer, you're more of a mechanical person who gets in there engineering wise and gets.
But that's not to say that it in any way is demeaning.
No. It's not demeaning. It's just a different type of leadership role. You hire dreamers to do dreaming, and you handle the logistics, and you try to scale the leadership, the engineering team, or the product enhancement team, or the R&D team, and finally the closing team, which is more like the marketing team, or the productization team, or the customer team. These are all three divisions of the teams: the incubation, the core engineering, and the marketing and productization. So this is where does the CEO hit on? Does he hit all three? Does he hit one? Does he hit two of these? Where does he hit? I mean, and where is his expertise, and where does he have these leverage those expertise to drive the innovation, to drive engineering, to drive marketing, really good marketing for his company?
Well, it all comes back to social engineering.
Okay.
Google did that best.
Okay.
I will give them that.
Well, I mean, Google.
Basically, like,
Google, yeah.
basically, like your kids taken care of. We got that. Like, people love going to work at Google, and that's the thing. Like, when you can create that environment of, I just love to go to work, people don't not show up. Like, if they're sick, they are really sick. Like, you worry about them because
Right.
they obviously show up to work every day on purpose because they love going to work. So they've created an environment where they're like, well, like, we make more money if people work harder. It was a really, it was actually, in my opinion, it's pretty innovative. They went, why don't we stop pushing them harder and just go, we'll make this a place that you want to be. And when you're a company like Google and you have that kind of money, you can create a space where, yeah, you want to come to work because work's fun, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, you want to come to work.
Yeah.
Or even if it's not fun. Like you have a bad day. Opposed to everybody else's bad day, your bad day is low on the totem.
Right.
And so they just made it to where you want to come to work.
Yeah.
And so they don't have to deal with that. They don't like, everybody shows up to work.
So let's go back to the topic of your job, your workplace.
I mean, in a weird way, I know that sounds like socialism.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's borderline socialism. However,
what is your definition of socialism?
Well, socialism is the entire population doesn't work for themselves; they work for the community.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So all the money goes to everybody.
To a big pot, yeah.
Right. Except that never works out. I mean, I hate to say it, but we've proven that over and over again and again.
Yeah.
There's always one dude. Yeah. But the way they've done it, it's like a micro socialism, which kind of works. It kind of works in that if you don't make it that big, it works.
Right.
If you make it micro, where it's like just Google.
Yeah.
I don't know that sounds silly to say that Google is micro, but like on that micro scale, yeah, it does work. Like everybody does love going to work, and they don't have to. Here's the thing with employees, if you go, hey, don't worry about your child care, we got that. Don't worry about your health care, we got that. And you're getting paid. They're not going to call in sick to work, right?
Right.
Because they're happy to be there. Like, so they're going to show up to work. Sometimes sick, and you're going to tell them to go home. No, you're sick, you got to go home. Like, no, there are companies that do that. They take care of their employees, and their employees are like, I don't want to lose my job. Like, no, you're not going to lose your job. You're fine. Go home.
Right.
it's one of those things where it's a fine line.
Right.
But Henry Ford was a piece of shit, and he took care of nobody
Right. Right.
and created an entire empire. So, like, the part I don't understand is I'm like, Google is huge.
Right.
So how can they do it that correctly? And which I guess I don't know. You know, times have changed. But
So the question I have for you, Bobby, is do you think it's good to have at workplace or at home workplace where you log in to a private network and then you VPN and then you do your work and then you have your Skype and your all your tools to collaborate with people or remote type of positions that they have now available in a lot of companies where you don't even have to be on site. They just send you a laptop and you do your work from far away.
well, we use a thing called Core,
Okay.
and basically what it does is um, it basically tells me everything that's screwed up,
Okay.
and I go down the list and I go, okay, I'll fix that, I'll fix that, I'll fix that, I'll fix that. Like, and it's a that I start and complete whatever it is.
So does it have notifications messages or notifications on your phone
Oh
or
yeah,
alerts? Okay.
yeah. It's all phone based,
Okay.
but the problem is that there are things that don't come across
Okay.
that system.
So there's people
So
can
like
circumvent the system.
right.
They could turn on
So
a script that automatically acts like it's surfing different websites when it's not surfing anything.
no,
Oh, so there would be some way they would find out, the system would find out or something. That
no.
they're
It
busy.
it is literally one to one.
Okay.
And so while I'm doing something,
So
I will.
what does it exactly
I have a
do?
radio. I have a
Or if you
radio.
can tell, if you can tell, if you can tell. I don't know if it's okay with you to tell. What does it exactly do? The system.
Well, the system is people go, hey, there's a problem in such and such, whatever.
Right, right.
Go fix it.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, I have a radio on me,
Right.
and they go,
But
oh my
it's not
God,
but it's
you
not
need to come look at this.
it's not generated by some sensors, right? By like looking at the screen of your computer or looking at the
Oh, you are taking this way more than it
yeah.
is.
So when I was taking a class at Carnegie Mellon University, I did a project where I was doing fire alerts, and basically the UI would send with all the UML, and UML is a type of software engineering paradigm where you're able to convert your code into or convert your mockups or sketches into code in a uniform way, which will be have lasting impact. And and it was invented by this person in the early 90s, and we were using this to come up with a project. I was using this to come up with a project about wireless sensor networks and basically having them detect when there's a fire and how to have the UI interact with you so you can know exactly what's going on. And the sense, and so the same thing I was thinking about this core you were saying, it could is just an issue tracker, right? It's an issue tracker, and you track who's using that, or like a getting things done list or something like, or a Trello list or something.
The thing is you've got, we write it down on a notebook.
Yeah.
At the front desk.
Okay.
We write it down on another notebook.
Right.
Behind the front desk. Then we put it on a core.
Oh.
So
okay.
you get to this situation where you triple it up, and
okay.
It just needs to be consolidated. Like that's the only thing.
Okay.
It's not that core is bad.
Right.
Core isn't bad. I mean, the software is pretty decent. Well, it has its hiccups, but whatever.
Right.
However, pick a side. Either write it down on paper or do that.
Okay.
Because if you don't, then there's confusion, which has happened on more than one occasion.
Right.
And you can yell at someone, but the problem is that they didn't know that they screwed up. Like, it there's a thing about paper. You see it.
Okay.
So when I walk in and I look down and I see paper, yep.
Yeah.
Unless you don't write legibly.
So
I got it.
Human activated, but if it was sensor activated, it would be much faster. Right? It would be.
I mean, and I get the idea of core, because when I show up to work, I mean, I get it. I pull up my core and it goes, these are the things you need to do. Gotcha. However, sometimes, that gets dismayed and it gets squirrely, and like there's sometimes where they're like, work on 314.
Okay.
And I'm like, what about 314? Like there's that point where it's like, well, what about it?
Like, and could there be some detail, level of detail, false positive, true negatives, those type of issues when you're dealing with these type of issue trackers that are human activated, not sensor activated?
Well, I think a lot of it is everybody's trying to get acclimated to the system because it just got thrown in there.
Yeah.
But we're expected to use it right now. And it's like, well, yeah, but no one knows how to use it, and no one's explained to anybody how to use it.
Right.
So, it'd be like I gave you DOS, and I went, all right, write me code.
Right.
You'd be like, it can take me a minute. No, you can't. It's just that it's going to take a while.
I mean, essentially, what I was pointing to last 1 minute, I was saying that it's kind of like the cloud cameras that they have available that have issue events every time there's motion in the view. So there's one called many places, or M Places. It's an app, iOS app for the iPhone, and you just turn it on and it uses the camera and it detects if there's motion in the camera's range, and then it sends a message to the server or the client. The client sends it to the server. It's a server essentially, and it sends a message to the client, which is you pulling it up, and then everything goes perfectly. So then you can check up on if there's something happening in your neighborhood.
Well, and I've also gotten curious about I mean, not that I'm a hacker, but I'm a hacker, and like just the idea that
Right.
you can trace my Wi-Fi address
Right.
is, I don't like that.
Right.
I'm not okay with that.
Right. Right.
And then there's the whole net neutrality thing, and that big argument,
So
which
so
is,
so 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 are you?
it's
Have
just
you
a dumb argument to me. I'm like you get net neutrality. It's just a dumb argument. Like I don't understand. I don't understand the point. I guess maybe I don't understand the conversation, but to me it just seems ignorant. I'm just out of it. I don't care.
Okay. So you are you for or against net neutrality?
All right. Well, you explain to me exactly what net neutrality is, and then we'll talk about what I feel about it.
Well, essentially, it
Because
could
that's the
mean.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's never been explained to me
Right.
appropriately.
Right.
It's always a weird shade, and
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. Like I can't be with you if I don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Right. Right. Exactly. 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 So net neutrality, in my opinion, this is my regurgitation of what I think it is essentially having instead of your internet being throttled, depending on which site, preferential treatment being given to certain sites in terms of bandwidth that's given to you, in terms of speed at which that site is refreshed or loaded, depends on their relationship with your ISPs. They should treat net neutrality is essentially treating all websites equally and giving them and downloading them at the same speed, given that they have servers that can handle the load. So that's the thing, or blocking websites based on whatever they feel like doing. That would be not net neutrality. That would be net, neutral. So that's my opinion. I don't know if that's the correct one, but that's just my regurgitation of what I've seen through the work of Ajit Pai, who, by the way, he was born in Parsons, Kansas, and his parents are best friends with were best friends with my parents a long time ago. So
Oh, you know him too.
yeah, and he went to Harvard, and then he went off to become the FCC chairman under.
Well, I never went to Harvard.
Yeah. So this is it's pretty cool. But anyways, so what do you think? Are you against or you're for? The throttling of the speed of
I think when net neutrality is there's a it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
Like there's a hard stance on either side.
Right.
Like I mean, just like the left and the right, or the Ku Klux Klan and the NAACP. Like there's always a hard out, which is not what I'm doing. I'm going, well, yeah, I don't think that it should be okay for dudes to look at kitty porn. That being said, why is my internet such a problem? Still there?
Yes.
Yeah. Why is my internet such a problem?
Yeah. I mean, if you
If
look at
some
the
dude wants to watch porn, let him watch porn. Fine. It's fine. Like, He's not hurting
But
anybody.
you don't want certain sites that are friends with that ISP to get preferential uh, priority queue when there's
Well,
load
and
on
then
the
you get
server.
into this thing of
What?
which actually is government law, First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech. Like maybe he wants to say that, like that.
Right.
You can't stop him from saying that. Like
Right.
you
Right.
don't necessarily have to agree with it, but that doesn't mean that you can tell him to fuck off.
Right.
Well, I mean, you can, but it doesn't mean anything other than you're.
Right. Right.
And I agree with that too. I mean,
Right.
like there's certain circumstances where I agree with that too. Where like, yeah, if your thing is you like to watch child porn, I'm gonna go. I don't like you,
Right.
and that's my First Amendment right to say I don't like you, and I hope you die.
Mm.
You should go away,
Okay.
or at least get help or something, whatever.
Mm.
I'm trying to be very PC about this, but
So I think
but
I think this topic is going, I think, out of little bit of scope of what we were originally talking about, but it's okay. We can move on to another topic that's more refreshing and more interesting because this topic has been there for quite some time. And my opinions of net neutrality is basically this: everyone should be given equal access to equal different sites, regardless of their domain,
exactly.
and it does not make any sense why the ISPs should determine which sites come faster or which sites
No
are
one should
blocked.
figure out what you're
No.
allowed to look
The
at.
whole structure of the internet, the packet switching nature of the internet, is supposed to make it that we're supposed to give equal access to everyone. It's like they should
Well,
come up with a particular bill of rights for the internet, and the first one
well,
should be
the internet actually started that way.
yeah.
I mean, I don't I don't know if you remember, but like the internet actually started that way. It was literally dial up, like all that, and then you got to the internet,
Yeah.
and everything was fair game. I was
Yeah.
on
Well,
IRC.
if you look at the history of the net, what was the first thing to use multimedia and video and audio? It was not definitely not your PG rated stuff. It was your non PG rated stuff, and that's what
Of
drove
course,
innovation in the internet
of course,
in terms of
of course.
protocols used, in terms of technology used, in terms of hardware used, in terms of software used. That was the first industry, and that's going to be the first industry probably to
Um,
make virtual reality a hit.
if you really want to take it down to brass tacks, the first
Right,
the first VR ever was created in the porn industry.
right, right.
So like hate on it as much as you want, but
Yeah.
that's how it occurred. Like it,
Right, right,
you might not like it.
right.
I understand that,
But that's just the
but
way. That's just the way. That's what the way
that's
the
their business.
what
That's
makes
their
money.
money.
What makes money goes first. It's very similar to. But this is not the same idiom that Linus Torvalds talks about in Just for Fun. In the first chapter, he talks about three waves for each type of technology or science or algorithm or electronics or software hardware. He says first there's the defense wave, then there's the enterprise wave, and then there's the commercial wave. And this is different because it could have been that they had virtual reality back in the days of Yvonne Sutherland. He invented it back in the 60s, or yeah, the 60s at Harvard. and
Well,
then we did not see a resurgence of interest in it until probably the 1980s or 1990s, and then again the resurgence came again with different companies like HTC Vive, which is the most popular one right now. So
and I've talked to Buddhists too who
yeah,
go literally like sex is important because
The
it's a
Buddhists say that.
basic human need. So you
Wow.
can't ignore it. You can't ignore it.
Right.
I mean, you can, I guess,
Right.
but you're not helping anything.
So, but what particular type of Buddhist is this? Is this like a Buddhist monk or a Buddhist who practice Buddhism, or is it like just a typical lay
Yeah,
Buddhist?
monks will tell you, like literally, like you you can't ignore that. It's ingrained in you.
Right. Right. Right.
You're not allowed to not do that. I mean, well, I guess you
Or
can, but
they must come up with some techniques, like some herbs that make them think about other things except certain things, non-PG things.
but you
I bet they have some technique, that like doing their chants or doing their particular breathing style or doing their yoga, meditation. All these things can calm their inner non-PG
yes, but
thoughts.
the whole point is that you're slowing that down.
Right. So they don't become compulsive or obsessed with something. They stay focused and they keep themselves away from the opposite gender, probably
Right.
most of the time. In this Buddhist dormitory or wherever they stay, they don't see any people, in from the Baywatch commercial or something. So it's just a thought I had. They
Oh
must
no.
have some techniques, because I've heard of too many, priests in different, not I don't know about the Catholic Church, but certain sects of the church. I don't know if it's Christian or other ones where they go they something bad happens and then they're exposed, and then the whole community is in
Well,
you
it
know, rum.
honestly it's because they're so, I guess,
Right.
not confused. What's the word? They're pent up
Pent up. Okay.
and they're not allowed.
Right. Right. Right.
Like, in I can say this definitively. I've
Right.
been there.
Right.
Catholic girls
Right.
typically like anal sex, and the reason is because they don't lose their virginity, and that's a really weird conversation to have. Like it's better to have anal sex than vaginal sex. Like, well, yeah, because you can't make me pregnant. Well, wait, but we're still having sex. Like, this is weird.
Interesting.
And I am not Catholic,
Okay.
so the first time I ran into that, it was very awkward. I was like, oh, this is weird.
Right.
Uh, I guess I don't like. What do I do here? I don't know. What's the appropriate? Oh, like it was one of those things.
Right. Right. So I think to end off this podcast, I think we should talk a little bit about basketball. So like this past week, there was a
Dude,
new.
you love to talk to me about basketball. You know, I have zero knowledge of basketball.
Okay, video games and basketball.
LeBron James, I got that. That's
Okay,
all I got.
okay, but there was this
I was LeBron last
news,
week.
news conference where they introduced a new league, e-league, that was where people could play on a basketball game and they could earn money just like a real athlete. And it was the fourth league created by the NBA. And I just want to know your thoughts. What do you think about uh, athletes that are video game players and being paid on par with eventually with real athletes by using their brain
Well, what the
and
hell?
their
They kind of have a pastime.
visual spatial ability, and
Well,
their
yeah, but the only thing they do is play basketball. I mean, like, I'm
yeah.
assuming almost all of them play video games at some point. Like,
Right, right. What, do you have any thoughts on your feelings? Like, do you think that it's just a thought. I just wanted to share with you because you might think it's interesting.
they should play Grand Theft Auto and fuck
Get
the
paid.
hooker and fuck the hooker next to the dumpster.
Well, I was not going to that Grand Theft Auto. I was talking about a basketball simulation game. So,
Oh, basketball simulation game. Well, they should definitely fuck the hooker next to the dumpster.
yeah, actually, when I was maybe
I mean, come on.
actually, Bobby, I really like Grand Theft Auto. And by the way, I beat Grand Theft Auto Vice City on Xbox, the original Xbox,
Oh
after six
Jesus.
months of off and on playing, and I finally beat it. At the end, he's on. It's like Scarface. The end of
Man, you're
Scarface.
hardcore. I didn't go that far.
No. And so basically, the end of the game, I'd beaten the CIA. I'd been in the military. They couldn't touch me. And then at the end, I'm like Scarface in my mansion, and these people are coming up the stairs, and I'm like, they just keep on coming, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm going to just shoot them with my sniper. But then what I do, I go down the stairs and I shoot the big guy, and it ends. The game ends, and it says you have beaten Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and it's like, and then the song comes in. That song, that awesome song that plays in their promotion,
You
and it
know,
reminds me of a
the
Scarface.
game you
And
have to play. The game you have to play. I'm not even kidding. By the way, Bam Margera. Oh man, who are the other celebrities in that? Bam Margera's in it.
right.
But Scarface.
Yeah. I've played maybe
Oh man, you gotta finish it.
2 days, 1 or 2 days of Scarface. I played in back in the days.
It is like on my it is my number one.
Okay.
Like when people are like, "What games would you like to play?" I'm like Scarface.
Yeah. So
Because
this
you
is
literally are Scarface. Like
right. You just open fire at a bunch of people with machine guns. It's really
well, not to mention the fact that you actually do the thing of the movie.
right. Well, they
Which
have
is
they have a lot
amazing.
of they have a lot of scary parts in the movie where they take the saw and then they cut off the.
Well, yeah. There's the goofy guy and the
Then that guy who looks like who looks like he's like on this convertible, and he's like touching girls in the wrong places.
yeah.
That one
Where
dude,
it's like, dude, stop that.
Hispanic dude.
Stop
Yeah.
that. No one's comfortable.
Yeah. And then the best is where he's snorting a certain drug.
Marty, That was his name. Mati!
Mati.
Mati! For
Hello,
fucking stop it, Mati!
hello, I'm Tony Montana. Where are you from?
Tony
Cuba.
Montana, but his buddy's name was Mati.
Mati.
Mati!
Yeah.
Fucking stop it. Which, by the way, I think in Spanish means friend.
Right. Brian De
He
Palma's.
didn't even have his real name. He's just like, Mati! Like,
Mati.
hey, dipshit, basically.
Yeah.
Just stop that. Don't touch the girl like that. She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Not good. Anyway.
Okay, so I think we'll end the podcast here, Bobby. If you're okay with this, this is a great place to stop. Scarface and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. So from there, if you're okay, are you okay?
What do you think about Chinatown?
All right.
So, yep. That same
live,
thing I had. All right. We're good here.
We're good here. So this is episode number 7 of Techno Kungfu with Bobby Brooks and Shyamal Chandra live from Pittsburgh, Kansas, and that's it.
Are we live?